Forget everything that you've been told about AI being a consumer software boom. Because right now, behind closed doors, the United States government is quietly executing a wartime-style annexation of the domestic power grid. And your utility bill is now being used to fund the expansion of the ultimate state-backed AI network, possibly Skynet. We have officially crossed the line where computing power has become military power. The electricity flowing into your neighborhood is no longer treated by Washington as a public utility. It is now legally classified as a critical national security asset. The question is, which of the AI tech giants are refusing to work with the government, and which ones are leaning in? Which ones should you hold in your portfolio? Wall Street thinks companies are competing for retail users and your monthly subscriptions, but they aren't. They are locking horns over a finite bottleneck in the supply of gigawatt power. And on May 1st, 2026, the Pentagon dropped a hammer that permanently fractured Silicon Valley. They've secretly divided these tech companies into two distinct groups. The first one is defense tech, and the second one is Exiled tech. This isn't a future projection. It is happening right now. Over the last 60 days, the Department of Defense has completely reworked its classified network protocols. They are now at impact level 6 and 7. They signed absolute sweeping pacts with 7 commercial tech giants, including Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and SpaceX, while ruthlessly making an example out of Anthropic, a $900 billion market darling that has dared to set conditions on the Pentagon and the American military machine. And Anthropic was officially blacklisted from federal agencies. In 2024, training top-tier AI models took a fraction of a gigawatt. But by next year, a single frontier model demands up to 5 gigawatts of continuous power. That is twice the peak electricity of the footprint of New York City running on just one AI model. The public grid simply cannot expand fast enough to support both consumer and military use of AI. Because of this bottleneck, the federal government is tracking chip inventory as if it were enriched uranium. This isn't enterprise hardware anymore. It's an active, strategic national stockpile. Look at the current distribution of advanced NVIDIA GPU microchips held across these primary tech giants. Now, take a look at Anthropic, who hold nearly 500,000 advanced chips, yet they are completely frozen out of US defense contracts. First, look at the actual dollar flow. The money moving from the Pentagon into these tech giants' balance sheet has surged in recent years, and that's because of AI. These AI giants are tapping into the Pentagon's massive defense budget, and this is the largest and least transparent budget in the entire United States. Now, here's the dark reality for these companies and why Anthropic stands out among them. They reported the May 1st Pentagon AI contract as a standard enterprise win for tech companies, but it wasn't. It was an ultimatum. In mid-2025, Anthropic was riding high. They secured a $200 million Defense Department contract to deploy Claude inside of classified networks. But Anthropic's leadership insisted on strict, non-negotiable safety guardrails written directly into the contract that explicitly barred the military from using their models for mass domestic surveillance or for autonomous targeting systems. So, what was the Pentagon's response? In February of this year, they designated Anthropic a structural supply chain risk, a bureaucratic label normally reserved for hostile foreign entities. They completely voided the $200 million deal, bypassed Anthropic entirely, and signed agreements with OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, and SpaceX. They have legally binding clauses for lawful operational use. As an investor, you can stick to your morals like Anthropic and diversify away from the defense sector, of course. But the reality is these tech giants are now an essential part of the US military machine. So here's our playbook on how to balance your exposure. First, immediately reduce your exposure to pure play software companies that rely entirely on the public grid without their own contracted private power supply. They are going to face an existential margin squeeze as power costs spike and will be subject to national security of the power grid itself. Second, aggressively rotate into the bottlenecks where this is happening. This means go to independent regulated power producers possessing active nuclear capacity or natural gas capacity. These ultimate winners of the AI race will not be the companies writing code. They will be the companies that control the physical gigawatts right here in North America that power the AI revolution. Now that we know that Anthropic is a risk, let's dive into the details of Claude AI and Anthropic's upcoming IPO. Subscribe and ring that bell for that next video.